Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. How you doing today? Now listen, guys. Oil prices. You know, we see oil tankers. Well, not thousands of them, but you know how big an oil tanker is? Many oil tankers just sitting there waiting off the coast of California. They're full of oil, nothing to do with it. You know, these oil prices are staying down. What does all that mean? Low oil prices is what's going to yield high oil prices. So the lower oil prices go on this end, the more oil refineries and stuff, they're not going to be able to make it. And the longer this lasts, they're basically going. A lot of them are going to cap their wells. Then what happens when the economy starts to spring back into action, and they need more oil? Well, you know how quick they can empty all those tankers and everything where they've got the oil stored right now? How quick that can all be drained out? Then what? Then we're going to see higher oil prices and shortages of oil, because then the major producers, will have went offline. A lot of the oils will have went offline. I can hear the sound right now of oil wells being capped all across the Permian oil basin in the United States. Is it called the Eagle Ford Oil Basin? Too. You can just hear the oil wells being capped right now, and men being sent home. The oil workers being sent home because oil prices are just too low right now. So low oil prices are going to yield higher oil prices. Let's look at something else too. Let's get the chart started right here and take a look. Our oil prices heading back into negative territory. Probably in the short term they are. Okay? But this is just going to cripple the oil industry even more. And it takes a while for them to get things back online if things start to pick up again, you know. Now, another thing I want to show you here is Trump says that he wants COVID-19 reparations from China. They're going to bill China for at least $160 billion, probably a lot more. You know what I say about all this? I say sock it to them. Sock it to them. Maybe that'll teach them. They're probably in the lab over there in Wuhan right now. They're probably creating viruses that make this virus seem tame. And if we don't want another virus to come out of China, we better sock it right to them. You know, make them pay, you know, and I'm all for that. And we could use the money, you know, not that their money's probably going to be worth anything. You know, China's going down the drain. Honest to gosh, China's going down the drain. So they have a saying, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. So there, China's going down the drain. Let's take a look now at the silver price today and see what it's doing. We're looking at 15.02 for silver. It's down 18 cents. This is because of the deflationary pressures we have out there right now. One of the big deflationary pressures is the loss of like 26.5 million jobs in the United States. If that's not deflationary, I don't know what is. And there's so much fear out there that people are not spending money. If they do have a little bit of money, they're being very careful about how they spend it. They're only using it to buy food. They're not buying any luxury items. They're saving their money back because they're frightened that they might lose their job or whatever. And I understand this, and it's all across the country. It's pervasive. And so the people that would ordinarily spend money are being a little bit conservative right now. A lot conservative. And who can blame them? And, you know, this deflation is not the real driver behind gold and silver. The real driver is inflation. We got some coming up in the future, you know, but it's a little ways out there yet. Let's take a look at cryptocurrency today and see what it's doing. Cryptocurrency, 224 billion, 63.7% Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin is getting ready to halve, That means there's only going to be half as much of them out there. Can you imagine what would happen to the gold price if they said, okay, we're going to take half of the gold on Earth and dump it into the abyss? Dump it into a big volcano. Imagine what would happen to the gold price if half the world's gold was going to disappear overnight. Well, that's what's happening with Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin's at $7,780 today. And it's up a little bit. We're looking at all the coins are up a little bit. It's been starting to creep upwards lately. 224 billion market cap. Dow Jones Industrial Average today. And we're looking at the Dow Jones. You ever ride a roller coaster ride at an amusement park? Do you know generally how they start those rides is you're going up an incline, up this big hill, and the car you're sitting in is going click, 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 click as it's slowly climbing up this big hill, you know? That's what the stock market's done for a long time now. Slowly climbed up this big hill right now, and it's perched at the top. It's just like being perched at the top of the roller coaster, you know? And there's a few seconds it delays at the top before it takes that big whoosh down, you know? That's what the market reminds me of right now. It's a roller coaster ride at the top of the roller. When it gets way up in the air, it's getting ready to take that big plunge. That's what it reminds me of. Because, you know, this virus hasn't went away. And in fact, now that things are starting to open back up, we're going to see a little resurgence in it. And they're pricing this thing for perfection. Okay, let's take a look now at crude oil. It's down 5% on the day, 66 cents. It's $12.12. I'll tell you what about crude oil. You know, we're going to see high prices on crude oil and shortage of supply. And I think it's probably about 6 months away. And one of the things that's going to cause that is these low prices are just going to be driving people out of business left and right. Take a look at U.S. Treasuries today. Treasury yields are falling all the way across the board. We're looking at look at this. It says update, current coronavirus update. Fauci, that's it, Fauci warns U.S. could be in for a bad fall. Food banks are closing as help dwindles. Where are people going to get food? You know, I heard today that Russia is not going to be, they're going to be holding the food for themselves, basically. And a lot of countries have the same way of thinking. They're going to hold the food for their people, you know. And we're looking at supply chain cuts in the food production around the world, here, there, and everywhere. Now, I don't see starvation coming to the United States or here in Canada. I think food will be available, but I could see shortage of supply here in Canada. It's already occurring, actually, and in the United States. And in these developing countries, you know, there could be actual famine where people are actually dying from starvation. And if we're in food shortage in our country, here in the United States and in Canada, if we are in a food shortage, how are we going to supply them with food when they're starving? Because it comes right down to it in the end, you know. We've been through years and years of going through past history, as long as I can remember, when another country was starving, a country that had plenty was able to support them. But if the countries that normally have plenty are almost starving themselves, and then another country is starving, who's going to support them then? Because there's just no food available. Could be a dire situation they're developing with that. But we're looking at the Treasury yields today, and the yields are falling around 4 basis points on the long end of the yield curve. The U.S. 10-year is 6.14, 0.614. It's just over a half of 1%, and the U.S. 30-year is 1.2% today. So that's what we see with Treasuries. Now let's go over and take a look at the dollar index. 99.89 today. So, yeah, we're seeing a strong dollar. You know, an awful lot of countries, they've borrowed massive amounts of money. They've borrowed like $14 trillion. And, you know, they have to pay these loans back and stuff. So there's a heavy demand for dollars. The dollar, another reason why there's such a heavy demand for dollars is the dollar is the best of the fiat currencies. It's the go-to. And there's nothing else out there available like the dollar. And so this puts the dollar on a pedestal. It's with all the other fiat currencies. They're all garbage. The dollar's garbage too. They're all garbage, but the dollar's the best one, so it's on the pedestal. It's a little bit higher, so it's not going to come down off that perch, you know? And so we're going to see the dollar still in a heavy demand for the dollars, heavy demand for dollars, right up until the end, until its demise, you know? Ultimately, all these fiat currencies are in a race to the bottom. It's currency wars, like the book that Jim Rickards wrote about, which a lot of the stuff he's talked about is very slowly but surely coming true. Anyway, listen, guys, thank you for listening to this show. Give me a thumbs up. Those thumbs up mean a lot to my channel. And we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.